Happiness is something we all strive for. But how do we measure it? Enter the happiness index. The happiness index is a measure of a country's happiness and well-being based on a number of different factors. Researchers collect data on factors such as income, social support, life expectancy, and freedom to make life choices. They then use this data to calculate the happiness index score for each country. The happiness index can be used to inform policy decisions as it provides insights into what makes people happy and what factors can be improved to increase well-being. For individuals, understanding the happiness index can also help us make choices that contribute to our own happiness and well-being. For example, research has shown that mindfulness practices such as meditation can improve well-being. So we might prioritize making time for these activities in our daily lives. Similarly, research has shown that social connections and strong relationships are key to happiness. So we might prioritize spending time with loved ones. Regular exercise has also been shown to improve well-being. So we might prioritize making time for physical activity. Ultimately, the happiness index serves as a reminder that happiness is not just a feeling, but a state of being that can be cultivated through intentional choices and actions.
Part 2. The happiness index is a popular measure of a country's happiness and well-being, but is it really an accurate representation of how happy people are? The happiness index is based on factors such as income, social support, life expectancy, and freedom to make life choices. However, these factors can vary greatly across different countries and cultures. Each country has its own unique cultural values and ways of measuring happiness. For example, in some cultures, the community and family are more important than individual achievement or material possessions. In these cultures, people may report high level of happiness even if they have lower incomes or less individual freedom, because they derive their sense of well-being from their relationships and connections to their community. On the other hand, in more individualistic cultures, people may prioritize personal achievement and material wealth, leading to higher levels of reported happiness, even if they have weaker social connections or less support from the community. This means that the happiness index may not accurately reflect the unique values and cultural context of each country, and may even be a form of cultural imperialism that imposes Western values on non-Western countries. Furthermore, the happiness index may also be influenced by factors such as social desirability bias, where people report higher levels of happiness to conform to societal norms. The happiness index has been lauded as a way to measure a country's happiness and well-being. However, some argue that it's a fraud, as each country has its own unique cultural values that can't be quantified. While the happiness index considers factors such as income and life expectancy, it doesn't take into account cultural differences. For example, in some cultures, the value placed on family and community may be more important than individual wealth or material possessions. Similarly, the way people define happiness can differ across cultures. In some cultures, happiness might be defined as a sense of purpose, while in others it might be defined as contentment. The happiness index also doesn't take into account the nuances of daily life in different cultures. For example, in some cultures, the art of sharing a meal with friends and family might be a source of happiness, while in others it might be seen as a burden. Furthermore, some cultural practices and beliefs that contribute to well being may not be easily quantifiable. For example, in some cultures, the pursuit of knowledge and education is highly valued and may contribute to a sense of happiness and fulfillment. Ultimately, the happiness index may be a fraud as it fails to account for the diversity of cultural values and practices that contribute to well being in different parts of the world. Happiness is a complex and subjective experience that can't be reduced to a single number or a score. Instead, we should strive to understand the unique cultural values and practices that contribute to happiness in different parts of the world.
The happiness index is a measure of countries' happiness and well-being, but some argue that it's a flawed metric. One of the main criticisms of the happiness index is that it doesn't take into account the unique cultural values of each country. For example, some cultures place a higher value on family and community than on individual happiness, and this can skew the results of the happiness index. In these cultures, people may report lower levels of individual happiness but still feel a strong sense of connection and fulfillment for their relationships with family and friends. Similarly, some cultures place a high value on hard work and productivity and may report lower levels of happiness if they don't feel like they're achieving enough. Religion is another factor that can impact the happiness index, as people's spiritual beliefs and practices can play a significant role in their overall sense of well-being. Ultimately, the happiness index is a flawed metric because it doesn't account for the unique cultural values and priorities of each country. Instead of relying solely on the happiness index to measure well-being, we should also look at other factors such as access to healthcare, education, and basic human rights. We should also prioritize efforts to address systemic issues such as poverty, inequality, and discrimination, which can have a significant impact on people's happiness and well-being. Ultimately, while the happiness index can be a useful tool for understanding global trends in well-being, it should be used alongside other measures and with an understanding of the cultural context in which it is being applied.
India is a country known for its vibrant culture, rich history, and warm hospitality. What is it accurately represented on the happiness index? India is ranked 139th out of 156 countries on the 2021 World Happiness Report, which may suggest that it's not particularly a happy country. However, some argue that the happiness index doesn't tell the whole story when it comes to India's happiness index. For example, India has a long history of spiritual practices such as yoga and meditation, which have been shown to improve well being. Similarly, Indian culture places a strong emphasis on music, dance, and celebration, which can contribute to a sense of joy and fulfillment. Indian cuisine is also known for its rich flavors and communal nature, which can foster a sense of connections and happiness. Family and community are also highly valued in Indian culture, and people often prioritize these relationships over individual happiness. Spiritual and religious practices are deeply ingrained in Indian culture and can provide a sense of purpose and meaning that contributes to overall well being. Furthermore, India is a country with strong sense of resilience as its people have overcome numerous challenges throughout history. Ultimately, the happiness index may not fully capture the complex and nuanced factors that contribute to India's happiness level. While there are certainly challenges and struggles that people in India face, it's also a country with rich culture, strong community bonds, and a deep sense of spirituality that contribute to a sense of joy and fulfillment.